The mistakes made in the film Titanic, in detail. The film Titanic is considered one of the greatest movies in the history of world cinema. It was produced in 1997 and directed by the famous filmmaker James Cameron. The movie is a blend of romantic drama and historical tragedy. Despite the extraordinary accuracy in the design of the ship, the costumes, and the set decorations, there are still many historical and cinematic errors that did not escape the notice of critics and viewers. Below is a comprehensive explanation of the most important of these mistakes, along with their nature and causes. First, historical errors. Small Blue Diamond, the position of the stars in the sky. In the scene where Rose looks up at the sky after the ship sinks, the pattern of the stars was astronomically incorrect. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson noticed that the constellations shown in the sky did not match their actual positions on that night in 1912. The director later admitted the mistake and corrected it in the 2012 re-release of the film, with Tyson's assistance. Small Blue Diamond, the music played during the sinking. In the movie, the orchestra plays the hymn, "Nearer, My God, to Thee" as the ship goes down. However, historians disagree about this. Some eyewitnesses stated that the band actually played another tune called Autumn in the final moments before the sinking. Small Blue Diamond, the ship's name on the stern. In the film, the ship's name, Titanic, appears engraved on the stern without the word Liverpool beneath it, which was the port of registry for British ships at that time. In reality, it should have read Titanic Liverpool. This is a clear visual inaccuracy. Small Blue Diamond, the crew's and passengers' outfits. Some crew members in the film were shown wearing modern-style jackets that did not exist in 1912. Likewise, some of the female characters had hairstyles typical of the 1990s, not of the early 20th century. Second, scientific and physical errors. Small Blue Diamond, how the ship broke apart. The film shows the Titanic splitting in half before completely sinking. While this scene became one of the most iconic moments in cinema, some experts argue that the real breakup was less dramatic and more gradual, not as explosive as depicted. Small Blue Diamond, Jack's survival in the freezing water. The temperature of the North Atlantic that night was around -2 degrees Celsius, 28 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning it was biologically impossible to survive for more than 15 minutes. Yet Jack remains in the freezing water for a long time before dying, which is a scientific exaggeration meant for dramatic effect. Small Blue Diamond, the wooden door that saved Rose. This is perhaps the most debated error. The wooden door floating on the water was large enough to hold both Jack and Rose, but the film shows that their combined weight would make it sink. Fans of the movie have conducted several experiments proving that both could have survived if the weight had been balanced correctly. Third, narrative and dramatic errors. Small Blue Diamond, the characters of Rose and Jack. There were no real people named Rose DeWitt Bukater or Jack Dawson on board. They are fictional characters added to enhance the story with romance, while the true events were far more tragic. James Cameron introduced them to make the film emotionally appealing to the audience. Small Blue Diamond, the drawing scene. In the famous scene where Jack sketches Rose wearing the necklace, he uses a Conti pencil, a brand that did not exist until several years after 1912. It's a small but noticeable historical inaccuracy. Timeline inconsistencies. The movie begins in 1996, when the ship is discovered underwater, then flashes back to 1912. However, some of the events recounted by the elderly Rose are chronologically inconsistent, mixing up moments that happened before and after the iceberg collision. Fourth, technical and cinematic errors. Small Blue Diamond, modern cameras visible in reflections. In a few scenes, especially those involving glass or mirrors, the reflection of the camera crew can be seen, particularly during shots involving water or shiny surfaces. Small Blue Diamond, the changing color of the sky. During the sunset and sinking sequences, the sky's color abruptly shifts from deep blue to orange and then to black, without a natural light transition, which weakened the visual realism of the scene. Small Blue Diamond, air bubbles in the water. In underwater shots, the rising air bubbles appear unnatural and uneven, revealing that the scenes were filmed in artificial water tanks, not in real marine environments. Fifth, the director's admissions and corrections. James Cameron later admitted in interviews that he made several historical and scientific errors. He explained that at times he prioritized visual beauty and emotional impact over factual accuracy. Nevertheless, some of these mistakes were corrected in the 2012 Centennial Edition, including the star field in the sky and certain visual effects. Despite all these errors, Titanic remains a cinematic masterpiece that perfectly combines artistic creativity with human tragedy. It immortalized the memory of the real ship in a deeply emotional way that moved millions around the world. These mistakes do not lessen its greatness. Rather, they show that perfection in art is nearly impossible and that history and imagination can meet to create one of the most unforgettable stories in 20th century cinema.